What's going on, everybody? This is Ricondo coming back at you with another video. As promised, guys, I was going to come on here and talk about more things than just our beloved Atlanta Falcons. So today we're going to go around the league, around the NFL, because it's definitely the end of the season. So we're going to go around the NFL and talk about just the fallout of the NFL season 2024, not just for the Atlanta Falcons, but for a lot of other teams today. We'll definitely talk about the NFL playoffs that's about to kick off this weekend, the wild card round. Then we'll talk about some the coaching vacancies that's out there. The six teams that definitely need head coaches, and last but not least, we'll talk about some other news around the league, some things that just been talked about in the recent days, surrounding different teams. So what? So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys are here to talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come hear me talk about these different sports topics. And today we're definitely talking about the NFL as a whole. So today, guys, the first thing we're going to talk about is the NFL playoffs. Like I said, the wild card round is starting out on Saturday. The two games on Saturday will be the Steelers and the Ravens, and the Chargers against the Texans. It's a lot. It's really good implications on that. What's going on, Eddie? Um, so it's really good implications going on this weekend. Talk about that late night game against the Steelers and the Ravens. It'll be the third time these two teams are going up against each other. Interesting about that, Lamar hasn't really fared well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He kind of broke that mold this year, when they kind of blew out the Pittsburgh Steelers and that last time they played this season. When the first time they played, they Steelers got them again, but he kind of redeemed the demons that he had against the team. Of course, the Ravens are the favorites to win, but it's kind of hard to beat your division opponent. So I don't think it's going to be as easy as game as a lot of people trying to make it out to be, especially considering that Zay Flower is going to be down. The Pittsburgh Steelers has a lot of familiarity with the Baltimore Ravens, so I think this game is going to be closer than a lot going to be. Now I do believe the Ravens should be able to pull it off. I think that two-headed monster with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson is just going to be too much for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers still trying to find some offensive rhythm. Arthur Smith over there, they don't have a second weapon, so it's going to be kind of hard. Running game is up and down every year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson has really been he's not been bad this season, so I just think they need more weapons on the Pittsburgh Steelers team. Mike Tomlin always able to get in the playoffs. He haven't won the games, since the last time the Falcons was probably in the playoffs. So, but I still think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's not going to be as lopsided as people thinking because it is a division opponent going up against division opponent. Now you're playing for the third time. If anybody knows Lamar Jackson, how to play him, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's going to be an interesting game. Hopefully, the Ravens don't blow it again because they definitely the favorites at home to win that game. Now you go to that second game on Saturday night, the Texans against the Chargers. C.J. Stroud definitely didn't have the kind of year he had, his rookie season. Now you could contribute that to some offensive line play, definitely with some of his injuries he had from some of his key weapons, Stephon Diggs, those guys going out. So, but you would assume that that defense, they went and got a Daniel Hunter, brought him in. You thought the defense is definitely going to be playing a little bit better. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be a close game. Now, this is the first game, the 4:30 slot on Saturday, so it's going to be the first game to start the wild card off. And the winner gets the Kansas City Chiefs, coming off a bye. So it's going to be interesting to see who's prevail in this game. But I think it's going to be interesting. Jim Harbaugh come right back into the NFL and get a team into the playoffs. That's probably no surprise for most of us, knowing what he's able to and what he's capable of. But it's going to be a really good game. He's had Justin Herbert limit down his turnovers. They rely heavily on the run game, but it's going to the key is going to be C.J. Stroud being able to, find these guys and get back into some rhythm. Some of the stuff we saw from him last season in doing his rookie campaign. So, like I said, he's missing a lot of personnel out there, weapons for him. But I still think it's going to be a good game. So let's see how it pans out. We know the Texans at home in this game, so let's kick it off a good game on Saturday to start the wild card round. The Texans against the Chargers. Now we go to the Sunday slate of games. First game that's going off is going to be the Buffalo Bills against the Denver Broncos. Now, of course, everybody got the Buffalo Bills is beating the Broncos there, but this is another game. I think the Denver Broncos defense has been really playing really well. So going to be interesting to see um, Josh Allen come out and do the things he's definitely been doing all season long, and being able to capitalize on some of the things that he can do. Probably going to be the league MVP this year. You can go either way with him and Lamar, but the fact that Josh Allen, lost so much from a team standpoint, didn't even have a 1,000-yard receiver on the team. He's probably going to end up being the MVP this year, not taking anything away from what Lamar Jackson was able to do. But um, if I had a vote, I probably still would go with Lamar Jackson because I think he just probably had one of the most historical seasons from a quarterback position. Being a dual threat, being able to run the ball, being able to throw over 40 touchdown passes, and only 4 interceptions. I probably would go with Lamar, but picking Josh Allen is probably not the wrong answer. When you think about it. So either way, I think it's going to be a problem. Maybe they could give one of them the offensive player of the year, and if they give Josh Allen the MVP, more than likely Lamar probably offensive player of the year. But then you got Saquon, probably should deserve the offensive player of the year as well. So not really sure how they're going to go there. But either way, I think the Bills should be able to pull this off for Bill. The interesting thing about this game is the winner of this game um, is going to be probably the Ravens. They're going to end up playing the Ravens, right? If the Ravens are able to beat the Steelers, which means the Kansas City Chiefs once again don't have to play the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens to get to the Super Bowl. They only have to play one of those teams. So how lucky are they just to get that one seed, right? So they get a bye, and then they have the opportunity only have to play one of the two teams that a lot of people thought they probably could go to Arrowhead Stadium and beat them. So they don't have to play the Bills and the Ravens. They have to play one of the others. And that is if the Ravens and the Bills take care of business like they're supposed to this wild card weekend. All right, the next slate game is going to be the Eagles against the Packers. Packers is facing the Eagles up in the link up there in Philadelphia. Um, I think the Packers going to have a lot of trouble stopping Saquon Barkley that run game. Good news for the Eagles: Jalen Hurts is back practicing, so they should be full go with all their guys out there. The Eagles defense finally got them going. You look at what Dick Fangio was able to do. You know, start the later half of the season, he started to get those guys playing. I like guys like Dick Fangio. I like guys like Dean Pease. Dick LeBeau. All those guys that run those defenses that really know how to get their guys. And I think start the season off. He didn't have his guys ready to understand. His system the way they wanted to play, and they was able to turn around. They got probably one of the best defensive fronts there, and that's Bulldog Northeast up there. So it's gonna be interesting to see. So I'm definitely picking the Eagles to win this game. But you never know. Remember last year the Packers went to Dallas and embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys on their home field. So you just never know how these things gonna work out. That's why you want to get to the tournament. That's why us as Falcon fans are so upset, because you can throw out all the records in the regular season. When you get to the tournament, man, you don't know what could happen. We have seen it before. We have seen it before when they only have 6 teams in the in the playoffs. We've seen the New York Giants do it twice, right? So you don't know what happens when you get in there. You just got to have. You seen Joe Flacco have one of the best playoff performances ever to win a Super Bowl in 2012, right? To help him get a major contract, right? Because he threw at 9 interceptions, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions that playoffs. Probably had one of the most, prolific playoff runs ever by a quarterback in Joe Flacco. Of course, Eli was able to do in his runs with the New York Giants. Quarterback that probably did never light up any regular seasons, but got to the playoffs and played lights out. So that's what the playoff football is all about. You just got to get to the tournament. So, all these games that's going to happen on Wild Card Weekend, no surprises if any of these teams get knocked off. Nobody should be surprised. The favorites going to be the favorites. So, of course, the Bills, the Ravens, the Eagles should all win those games. Texans and Chargers, I think, is more of a toss-up game. Then you got the Sunday night game against the Bucks and the Commanders. We'll get to see Jalen Daniels continue to do, his excellent rookie campaign that he has been on. But Baker Mayfield is playing lights out, man. He really is. You got to tip your hat off to him. Bucket Irving, I think, has been a really bright spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But for years, especially when you look over the last 4 years, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was not able to run the ball. This season, they found the running game, and it kind of opened up their offense for them. Baker Mayfield has had a really good season. So that's going to be an interesting game, man. If they can limit Jalen Daniels from making, those miraculous plays using his legs and things like that. The kid is poised, but we seen Dan Quinn defense come out last season and, with the Dallas Cowboys and get ran off the field. So hopefully he have his guys ready to play this wild card round, and we'll see what happens with that. And then finishing off the last game of the weekend, which is Monday Night Football, the Los Angeles Rams going to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this game has got a lot of context to it because it's the wildfires are going on in Los Angeles, so they have already made contingency plans. They're not going to play the game in Los Angeles. They're going to have to move it to Arizona and play the game there. So the NFL is on top of it, making sure that that the game still go on. They got to move it to Arizona. So the word is not out. Have they already moved it yet? We know that the Lakers game already got postponed. That was supposed to come on tonight. And once again, guys, my heart goes out to all the people who's in that devastation and the wildfires out there. Man, I guess the question is, the only thing I got to say about that is that you got all that, you right by the ocean, man. You got right by the sick ocean. Just put some water on that thing and get it out of there. But that's not that simple. I get it, but just bad business, man. Just bad business. I know JJ Redick, the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, lost his home that he was staying in out there. So, like I said, hearts and thoughts and prayers goes to all the families and the people that have been affected with those wildfires. Hopefully, they get it on the wraps, right? Only if they had the cold front that's coming on the East Coast, right, with the snow and sleet and everything like that, maybe that could help out a lot. But that's not what we got. So let's get some of these comments. But guys, that's the playoff round for this weekend. All around the league, please give me your thoughts. Who you think is going to win? Do you think the Zay Flowers injury is going to affect the Baltimore Ravens being able to, do the things? They still got King Henry, they still got Lamar Action Jackson. So we're going to see if they be able to make things happen there. But at the same time, we got to see what happens. So Eddie says, so you don't know it's college football playoffs tonight, right? Yeah. I ain't talking about college because my Bulldogs out. Definitely could talk about college football. Notre Dame, Penn State. I know that game is coming on. So good luck to both of those teams. I think Ohio State's going to take it anyway. Let's see here. He says, man, the Ravens are running away with that game. Know the game. We can put some. I guarantee you, they're not running away from the game. And Eddie, you should know this. It's just a divisional game. No divisional games just get blown out. The Baltimore Ravens is not head and shoulders over the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're just not. And I guarantee you Mike Tomlin had those guys ready to play. I still think the Ravens going to win, but it's not going to just run away with it. So I disagree with you on that. You said the key to Texan defense with their injury woes. Don't be surprised. Yeah. Like I said, I think it's a toss-up game. The Chargers Texans is definitely a toss-up game for me. So I agree with you on that. Wallace says, "What's good, Ricardo? What's going on, man?" I think Lamar will win MVP again with the performance he put up again. Yeah, like I said, he's my pick for MVP, but of course I don't have a vote. But I just think, MVP fatigue. It's just like when Michael Jordan was playing and they got tired of giving him MVPs. LeBron James, they got tired of giving him MVPs. And then they make it political. Kobe Bryant got one MVP. Shaq got one MVP. Stuff like that. Like politics fall in play in this MVP thing. So, um, in my opinion, I just feel like they're going to give it to Josh Allen because of the politics on it, on all of it. You said Bills. Said Bills didn't lose much at all. Which direction OC Brady run offense? They didn't need a wide receiver for the type of offense. Bills secondary is vulnerable if the front seven don't. So I think they did lose a lot. You go look at the secondary. They lost a lot of guys in secondary. Um, and then you're right. They changed the way they played on offense. Utilized more tight ends. They ran the ball a lot. So they did simplify the game. They kept Josh Allen from making those critical turnovers and things like that. So you are right. They did change, but I think they did lose more than a lot of people thinking. If you go look at some of the projections from the start of the season, a lot of people didn't have the Bills being the number 2 seed in the AFC. So um, I think that's why Josh might get it. And that's the argument for him probably being MVP. Um, Provide pressure all game long. Agree on that. I think every team need to do that in the playoffs. Pressure bust pipes, man. And if you take to get these quarterbacks off their spots, you got a chance to do some good things, right? Some scary to others because you want to keep Lamar, you want to keep Jalen Daniels probably in the pocket more than you want them to be running all around. But you know, getting quarterbacks off their spot is always the key in any game. Don't be surprised if Sean Payton maximize game for Bo Nix, exploit the Bills, and make it a game. I'm not surprised. Like I said, and that's what getting a tournament is all about. When I think about it, in my opinion, I just believe that you know wild card and because it's all about scheming and it's all about matchups. We know that as well, but man, you just got to play really good, have a really good game plan, and show some different stuff that they might wasn't ready for because you only got to win this one game. So I just that's why I love NFL football, because it's really, truly, truly any given Sunday. In this case, on Saturday. So, and yeah, I agree with you. Denver defense is hell, man. It really is. You said Bills had 4 of those DBs playing year before. They were already included 2 linebackers. Yeah, but they lost some of their top safeties, man. Um, so I'm not taking anything with it. I think the Bills played really, really good this year. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they deserve to be the number 2 seed. All right, all right. Let's get into my next topic, guys. Next topic is, of course, the head coaching vacancies. This year is 6 teams. 6 teams that's searching for a new head coach. 2 teams searching for a general manager. Of course, the Titans let their general manager go. And they reported today that the Las Vegas Raiders let their general manager go as well. Of course, they let their coach go, Antonio Pierce, go earlier this week. So the Raiders are looking for a general manager and a head coach. So that's going to be interesting to see who decide to go there. I think the Raiders have the number 7 pick, if I'm not mistaken. Um, don't quote me on that. Let's see here. They have the number 6 pick. So the Las Vegas Raiders have the number 6 pick in the draft. So um, we'll see how that works out for them. But first of all, they got to get a general manager in there, get a head coach in there. Um, and if you remember the last year coaching cycle, the way the NFL got it going on, it's a lot of logistics in getting these head coaches, especially if you want to interview head coaches that's in the playoffs and things like that. Certain window you can interview those guys. Of course, you got to still think about the Rooney Rule. So it's a lot of things that needs to go place. Now, coaches that's not on staffs and stuff like that can already start doing interviews, and we have heard about a couple of coaches that's going around doing interviews. But I guess the question is, out of the 6 vacancies, which one is the most attractive? We talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. We talk about Las Vegas Raiders. We talk about um, the New Orleans Saints, of course, the Chicago Bears, and then we talk about the New York Jets. So those are the vacancies that's out there. And the question is, which is the most attractive job that you would want, right? So looking at the draft order, Tennessee Titans, um, they got number one overall pick, of course, right? Um, but they don't have a general manager first. They got to get their general manager in there, and so that's not a job opening, but that's going to be interesting to talk on that. The New York Jets, right? Will Aaron Rodgers come back? The new coach want Aaron Rodgers to come back, right? The New York Jets have the number 7 overall pick in the draft. Um, so looking at that from an attractive standpoint, I guess you have to figure out your quarterback situation. They were supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league. It's really didn't seem like it that much this year, but those pieces are still there. They did get rid of their head coach, who was the defensive guy that was there. So maybe that's why their defense fell off so much, during the season. Of course, they promoted the defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich to the head coach position, interim head coach position. But is the Jets the most attractive spot, right? It's going to be telltale. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they supposedly got their franchise quarterback and Trevor Lawrence, right? Got a pretty solid defense. Got the weapons there on offensive side of the ball. Just not been good for the team so far. Maybe Trevor Lawrence need to be more, but if anybody could develop him, it was their last head coach that they just let go because he is supposed to be that quarterback whisperer. That's why they brought him in. Their owner is kind of quirky, in my opinion. What he said yesterday, basically, if the head coach wanted to get rid of the general manager, he would think about it. And the general manager sitting there right in his face when he said it. So that was weird. But I don't know if that that job is attractive, from a Jacksonville Jags standpoint. So you got the Jets, the Jaguars. Um, you got the Inks. The Inks might be the most stable organization, but the problem with the Inks is their salary cap situation that they have. They got a lot of issues with their salary cap. A lot of guys they got to make decisions on this off season. They wanted the most one of the teams got the highest dead cap that's going to be out there going into the 2025 season. Of course, they're another team that's going to be searching for a quarterback as well. So it's going to be interesting to see about the New Orleans Saints, right? We're going to see what they're going to do. Right now, it's reportedly that like Aaron Glenn is like he's going to be the favorite. He played with the New Orleans Saints, so right now he might be the front runner to actually be the head coach for that position. Um, we heard that he turned down the coaching interview to the New England Patriots. Not even surprised about that at all, because you know I just feel like the New England Patriots already know who they want to hire, and it seems like they're just trying to fulfill that Rooney quota by bringing in coaches that they know they already interviewed Byron Leftwich. Like, yeah, like I don't think they're genuine bringing those guys in because I really believe that New England Patriots want to hire Mike Vrabel. You know, so the head coaching positions that's out there, um, the New England Patriots do have a quarterback they just drafted in Drake May, so might have their quarterback of the future there. So you can build with that. That'll be a good situation to go in. Um, Chicago Bears got their quarterback that's already there. That's another situation that you could think about. You know, going in, you already got your quarterback. The Chicago Bears should have a really good defense. So, you know, when I'm thinking about the teams, and I'm looking at the team as a whole, like I said, the salary cap situations, stable organization, you got a quarterback intact, you got a good defense. I would think Chicago Bears probably, in my opinion, would be the most attractive coaching vacancy that's out there. Um, you know, all the other teams is going to have a lot of things to fix. Like you look at a team like the Las Vegas Raiders, they need a lot of more weapons on offense. So whoever they bring in the coach, first of all, they got to find a quarterback. Um, then they got to try to fix a lot of pieces they need to add to that team and make it competitive. So it's gonna be interesting. The only weapon they got on offense, well, they got two. Jacoby Myers had one of his best seasons. Of course, Brock Bowers was just lights out. So um, they got Max Crosby over there, defense end, on that side of the ball. But they still got a lot of holes I believe they need to fix. That's why you looking at a guy like Antonio Pierce, you say it wasn't fair for him. One season trying to turn the team around. Only thing about that was he was an interim the season before, so you know, kind of had 2 seasons to try to get something together. But you have to do it with talent, and 100%. If you don't have a quarterback in this league, you're not going to win a lot of games. It's just that simple. You're not. It's not going to happen, right? But just looking at these 6 vacancies, in my opinion, I think the Chicago Bears vacancy could probably the most attractive to me, right? You got a young quarterback still on his rookie contract. You got all the offensive pieces around him. You probably need to fix a little bit on the offensive line. The defense is really, really good. So you got Jalen Johnson out there. Um, I like their defense a lot. So you just need to find the right coach to bring in and put all that stuff together. So to me, I think Chicago Bears probably the most attractive spot. Like I said, you would say some place like the New Orleans Saints, maybe, but I don't like that cap situation. Like I said, they got to make a lot of decisions there. Um, the New York Jets, so much uncertainty there. Um, the Jacksonville Jaguars, like I said, I don't like the way the owner deals with things, right? Um, so for me, I'm thinking about the Chicago Bears. If I had to go, had a opportunity to coach a team, it would be Chicago Bears. Now, interesting thing, it was word that Ben Johnson, one of the hottest candidates out there, might consider staying in um, in Detroit and not taking a head coaching job, right? And sometimes, like you said, the grass is not always greener on the other side. Now, if you have a a desire to be a head coach, there's only 32 of these jobs out there. You have a desire, and somebody offer you a job because he would be probably top on a lot of people's list being one of the candidates because the things he's been able to do with Detroit. But I think he's trying to make sure he go to a stable organization where he's not going to a situation and be like Antonio Pierce, like a Gerard Mayo, and you know can't have any success right away. Usually, when you're a head coach, you're not going to get into a job where you're having success right away. It's just not going to happen anyway. So those are things you got to think about head coach vacancy. But for me, when I think about it, I think Chicago is probably the best spot. Um, so that's just my mindset when I think about it. Um, Bill Belichick has been offered, been getting flyers on Bill Belichick, 100%. Around the league, teams are definitely looking and see a Bill Belichick trying to take a flyer on him, but his AD came out today and said that he's committed to North Carolina. So we'll see how true that is. We'll see. I know the Raiders reached out to him. Tom Brady. I'm pretty sure a lot of other teams reached out to him too to see what his interest was coming back to the NFL. Definitely a guy that could probably turn the franchise around. But to what extent do he want all control of the roster and things like that, of drafting guys like he had in New England, or do he just want to come in and be the coach and have a general manager, you know, do that collaboration thing together? So not sure about that, but his name's been thrown out there as well. So um, 6 vacancies. You hate to see it every year. You know it's going to happen. I just think the saddest part about it is they're giving these coaches 1 year. First of all, you're coming into um, a situation where the team wasn't that good anyway. And if you don't get guys the pieces to be successful, it's going to be hard. The number one piece is a quarterback, right? So you look at a team like the Las Vegas Raiders. Um, they had a quarterback carousel around there. Most of those guys, quality NFL quarterbacks, was most of them are backups, right? They're not guys you want to build your franchise around. So he didn't have a franchise quarterback. Um, you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars now. He didn't have a excuse, right? He was potentially supposed to have his franchise quarterback and Trevor Lawrence there. Still couldn't get it done. So you know that's interesting about that. The New York Jets was just a complete failure. You think about that team. They brought in the Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers and still couldn't get it done. Um, so Chicago Bears, I think Matt Eberflus probably should have been fired the year prior, and because they had been bad for years, right? And then you bring a new quarterback in and keep him on board. I just thought that probably should have went on and changed changed that right away, but they didn't make that change. So that's where you there. Angst, I already knew that their head coach wasn't good anyway. You look at his stint with the Raiders, he wasn't that good. So bringing him on to be the head coach for the New Orleans Saints, I was happy about that being a Falcons fan. So I didn't really care, but we knew that was going to move on with him. Bringing Aaron Glenn in, I think would be a good opportunity for him. To come back to the team he played for. Um, Unfortunately for us, we have to put up with him for two. In our division moving forward, but you know, hopefully he lands somewhere. Um, the way he's able to do with that Detroit defense, considering all the injuries that they sustained this year, and still being able to come out and come up with a game plan, and still, go win only lose 2 games in the season is really impressive. So, I think Aaron Glenn definitely deserves opportunity to be a head coach somewhere in this league. But for me, guys, my most attractive vacancy would be Chicago Bears. Please give me your thoughts. What you think about the team that you think will be um, attractive in these 6 head coaching vacancies that they got out there. Uh, Eddie says ownership for our head coach and GM like that. They already have a targeted. They want crazy. Yeah, you talking about the Raiders? Probably more than likely, yes. We'll see who they thinking about. Not with Derek Carr. Yeah, the Aints don't do nothing. Yeah, they got to do something. Um, the Raiders definitely will be all right. They will need to work on their skill positions offensively. 100% agree with you on that. They got a lot of pieces in the field. Um, you say Jacksonville best opportunity as a long-term head coach can fix Trevor Lawrence. Hopefully, they already paid him his money, so um, he shouldn't need fixing if you're gonna pay him that much. He should be ready to go. Just my opinion. Ben Johnson want to go to a situation with an experienced quarterback because he's a good play caller, but it's suspect coaching young quarterbacks. See, so where is he going to go then? I mean, maybe go to the Jets. Aaron Rodgers stay. I don't know if anybody want to go with that diva though. Aaron Rodgers. He also said that he wants to be part of the front office decisions. A lot of coaches get that. I mean, a lot of coaches get especially most coaches get the last word of the 53-man roster. Unless you're in Dallas, Dallas don't let their coaches have decisions on that. And then you look at the relationship with our coach with the Falcons and their general manager over the couple of years. You know, they make a collaborative decision on the draft picks, on free agency, everything, right? So it's collaborative effort, and I think that's one of the issues why Bill Belichick, wasn't the right fit for Atlanta because he wanted to make decisions, instead of with the GM. So um, that's how that went. And then you say Chicago still needs to work on their O line and their quarterback and add a playmaker wide receiver. Chicago has a lot of wide receivers, man. What you're talking about? C.J. Moore is a playmaker. Um, Keenan Allen. They got Rome Odunze. They got 2 solid tight ends. They got a running game. Yes, the offensive line definitely needs fixing, but for far as skill positions, I think they're solid there. I definitely don't know what you're talking about. They need to get a playmaker there. Um, he wants to be like Dan Campbell, like Bill Parcells as a mentor. told him to do so. We're going to see. Ben Johnson is going to be he. Of course, he's probably the hottest commodity coach out there, and we'll see um, where he lands unless he stays with the Detroit Lions. Um, just for our Falcon fans out there, Arthur Smith got an interview with the Jets. Believe it or not. Um, so we'll see. Cliff Klingberg probably could be a candidate too. What he was able to do with Jaden Daniels. Of course, he didn't have a good stint when he was with the Arizona Cardinals, but um, here's another name that you throw out there. Rex Ryan, throw himself out there to be the head coach for the New York Jets. It'll be interesting to see. The word on the street that he was in the top two candidates though, so we'll see how that works out. Um, but these head coaching vacancies is need to. I think they're going to go into after the playoffs more likely, especially you're trying to interview coaches that's certainly in the playoffs. Going to be an interesting thing. You look at some of the position coaches as well. Cincinnati Bengals, they got rid of their defense coordinator. Probably offense probably had one of the most historic offensive seasons. Especially from the quarterback, receiver, got triple crown. Joe Burrow led the league in quarterback yards, touchdowns, and all that stuff. And they didn't make the playoffs because their defense was not that good. But firing your coach maybe not been a good idea. It's going to be interesting to see they can replace Armando, that's his name, Lou, and we'll see what happened to that. The Seattle Seahawks got rid of their offensive coordinator when Geno Smith probably had one of his best offensive years out there. So that was interesting to see that happen as well. So it's going to be definitely going to see who they send in to replace the OC in Seattle and the DC in Cincinnati. We're still waiting on the word if the Falcons going to do something with their DC. They said they're still evaluating. See if they go ahead and make a decision to change that. For me, I want somebody aggressive, somebody that's going to get after the ball, get after the quarterback, be physical outside with the receivers and things like that. Instead of playing all that zone coverage, I hate that crap. So we'll get to see with that. He says those are not Caleb Williams type receivers. This is one thing about Eddie, guys. Like he always trying to like fit somebody with what they do. It's like Caleb Williams, throw the ball, man. You're his type of receiver. What you mean? I don't understand that. If you're supposed to be a franchise quarterback, you throw the ball in a receiver that's out there. Why it's got to be a certain type? Like I don't like that. Those are good receivers. Keenan Allen is a great receiver. DJ Moore is a great receiver. Rome Odunze has potential, right, to be a good receiver. So what you mean, his type of receiver? I don't really understand when you say that. You need to be. You can give more examples of what you're saying about that. I would love to see Rex back with the Jets. Perfect for all the above. Yes, I agree, man. I would love to see Rex as a defensive coordinator for Atlanta Falcons. But you're right. That's the last time they actually was in the playoffs with Rex Ryan. So it would be really, really good to see that happens if Rex Ryan go back. But right now, I don't know if he's even the top candidate for the New York Jets. We'll just have to see. And interesting one thing, if he is the coach, he definitely got to find a quarterback. Unless, because I don't think if the coach, I don't think he want Aaron Rodgers back there. So we'll have to find a quarterback, and if that's the case. So it looks like the Rams Viking games that I talked about will be moving from Los Angeles to Arizona because of the wildfire, guys. What he says, what you say here? He said most of the teams, pre-owners, and scouts are looking for experienced coaches. Yeah, just retread coaches. That's fine. Do that. Retread coaches, man. Don't give new coaches a chance. Whatever. That's fine. Find the retread coaches. So do what you do. That's why they always having to replace coaches because they'll want to give young new coaches opportunities to do some things, and then they don't give them time anyway. So um, that's why a lot of franchises don't be successful, man, because they don't have that stick to it attitude to try to stay in the fight and do things like that. Terry said was going to trying to get someone to trade for Kurt. We're going to talk about Kurt in just a minute because he's definitely one of the topics that I have on the list. So I got you on that, man. But guys, let me know what you think about head coaching vacancies. Like I said, Chicago is my most desirable coaching spot. If I was a head coach that was out there, I would want to go somewhere like Chicago. I think they got the most intact, um, situation right now with their young quarterback. They can get him rolling. I like their GM and Pose. So I like the Chicago situation. All the other teams, um, it's gonna be they got to do some fixing, man. Like I said, you go to New Orleans, you got to you deal with that cap situation they got. Um, they get a quarterback. You go to the Jets. They got need a quarterback. You go to the Raiders. They need a quarterback. Go to Jacksonville. Um, Jacksonville is a good situation, but they need to be able to get Trevor Lawrence to play to his potential. So that's going to be interesting there. Um, New England Patriots, they got their young quarterback, so you know they need to add some more pieces there. So those are spots, but for me, Chicago would be the most attractive. Like, let me know what you guys think about that. All right, last topic of the day, guys. We're gonna just go around the league and talk about some news, some rumors, and things we heard around the league. And I'm just giving you my thoughts on all of those things. Um, we talked about Bill Belichick coming back into the NFL. Would that be a good situation? Um, but it sounded like he's committed to the North Carolina Tar Heels. But things changes, so we'll definitely have to see how that pans out. But Bill Belichick, you know, come back to the league, it would only be right because that's where he probably belonged anyway. If he still want to be a head coach, but I am intrigued about him going to the college rank and see what he's able to do with the Tar Heels. So, but we like we said, there was rumors out there that Tom Brady reached out to him for the Raiders position, and I'm pretty sure other teams have reached out to him as well. All right. Another topic, Deion Sanders, you know, made headlines saying that only way he would come to the NFL and coach if he could coach both his sons, and Shadur and Shiloh. Um, there could be a possibility. Shadur projected to go, in early on in the top 10. And Shiloh, I don't know what his draft grade is right now, but maybe in the later rounds, that team got a pick him as well, and Deion could have opportunity. So never say never there. Um, but I do know that he likes where he's at in Colorado, and there if you've been watching the transfer portal and the guys they're bringing in, um, their defense definitely from a standpoint has potential to be even better than it was this year. They led the Big 12 in sacks and things like that. So he's building a good roster in Colorado. But it seems like the media, especially the national media, really trying to get him into the NFL to be a coach. And you all know it's gonna be um, most televised, whatever, because that's what he do, man. That's what Coach Prime does. He bring all eyes on everything. If you look at the Alamo Bowl game, the numbers that they did in that game, him and Colorado and BYU's were just astronomical. And that's what he's been doing since he's been head coach Colorado. You talk about the wins and losses, but marketing and being able to bring revenue to his situation it's like nothing else we ever seen before. So, um, Raiders would be interesting. Raider has the number 6 pick in the draft, so you know I think Shadur might get drafted before that. So, go somewhere like the New York Giants or the Cleveland Browns. They already have their head coach intact, so those wouldn't be places where Coach Prime will be able to go. So just throwing that out. Um, Now let's get into the nitty gritty. Another rumor we heard from the Atlanta Falcons general manager Terry Fontenot today, and he talked about Kirk Cousins being comfortable with Kirk Cousins being the number two for the Atlanta Falcons. So let's just put it out. Yes, it's probably the richest number two um, sitting on the bench in NFL history. Let's just be honest about that. But guys, it's a sunk cost. My opinion on that, it's a sunk cost. Kirk Cousins has a no trade clause. Now they can cut Kirk Cousins, but the money is already spent. So basically, what's going to happen is to be the same situation that the Denver Broncos had last year, where you know they cut Russell Wilson, and then he was able to play for another team for like $2 million, and the Broncos was on the thing to pay Russell Wilson his remaining salary. Well, Kirk Cousins already had guaranteed money, so it would be the same situation. The difference between what we've seen with the Denver Broncos and the Atlanta Falcons is that the quarterback and the organization is not strained like it was. They wanted to get rid of Russell Wilson because of the relationship there. I think the Atlanta Falcons have a really good relationship with Kirk Cousins. It's just the fact that he's never going to start again, for Atlanta Falcons because we found out our guy. So, you know, I understand where Terry Fontenot was thinking about. Now, it's going to be a strange situation having this much money, but the money is spent. So if you cut Kirk Cousins, it's not like you're going to recoup any money back. It's not going to happen, right? He had a 2-year guaranteed contract. After next year, the rest of the money is not guaranteed, but his guaranteed money is pretty much already owed to him. So you, it's a sunk cost. So what's the difference? Just keeping on. If he's willing to be a professional and stay there and play behind Michael Penix, I think it's a good situation for the Atlanta Falcons because they have a good pro ready quarterback behind being the backup. Yes, it's going to be a lot of money, but at the same time, it's a sunk cost. They already owe the man. Just if they already owe him, so it doesn't really matter if they cut him or keep him on the roster. Now I think they're going to find a trade partner there, and but he has to no trade clause. So what should be happening is his agent need to be skirting the league. We just talked about all these teams that need quarterbacks, um, and it might not be enough quarterbacks in this draft for every team to be able to get one. So it's going to be some teams looking for veteran quarterbacks, right? We just saw what Carson Beck just did. We thought Carson Beck was declaring for the NFL. Um, we looked at the Texas quarterback. I don't know if he's going to come out. So it's not like it's a plethora. Used to use plethora. A plethora of quarterbacks out there that all these quarterback needy teams going to be able to take. So then when you look at it that way, it's going to be some teams going to go out some of these veteran quarterbacks. We heard about Sam Darnold. Maybe potentially he stays in Minnesota. And then what they're going to do with J.J. McCarthy? They might trade J.J. McCarthy, right? You got Kirk Cousins out there. The Atlanta Falcons found their number one guy. Um, he has a no trade clause, so he definitely has say on where he goes. But you know, maybe they can find a trade partner for Kirk Cousins. But if they don't, I agree with them. Just not let him go for free because if you cut him, then he can go anywhere he want to go, and the Atlanta Falcons still going to foot the bill because they already pay him. He has a guaranteed money, so it's not like you cut him and you're going to recoup anything. You're not. You're not recouping anything. And if you recoup anything, I think post June 1, like $2 million, something like that. It's not worth it, man. Just try to trade him if you can. If you can't, and if he's professional enough and he doesn't mind being a backup, um, you know. But most people got egos and they think they can still play. Kirk Cousins said that, during one of his last press conference that he had. So definitely he might want to go somewhere else and explore. And if that's the case, he worked with his agent to find a team that is willing to trade for him. Um, and then the Atlanta Falcons will definitely probably be obliged to do that. But I 100% do not think that Atlanta Falcons should just cut Kirk Cousins and let him go. Terry T said Prime might be coaching in Vegas if they draft his son. Yep, I just mentioned that, but they got a number 7 pick. Now they willing to move up in the draft to get him. That could be a whole different story, right? We'll just have to see how they work out. Eddie says if they're able to trade Kurt, then they will only have 35 or 37 million cap hit. That's right. They able to trade him. Exactly. Like I said, hopefully they can. But I mean, it's weird because this the way if you're looking at it, and like I said, you can't look at it this way because he's on the bench. But the whole idea when they drafted Kirk Cousins was to give him 2 year guarantee, drafted Mike Penix. So he was already on the cap sheet for 2 years regardless, guys. Right? Nobody knew he was going to fall off a cliff. Nobody knew that. So if he played well, we started 6-3. If he played well and got us to the playoffs, right, this wouldn't even be a conversation because Kirk Cousins still playing well, but he was already on a book for 2 years guaranteed anyway. It's the same thing, right? Only reason people looking at it different because he played like crap now, right? Hindsight 2020, and we got our franchise quarterback. So now it's like, well, you don't need him anymore. But guess what? We was gonna have him for 2 years anyway because that's what the deal was set up. It was set up for 90 million in that first, and then that 10 million was so he had $100 million contract guarantee already. It's just that's the way it was. So I don't think you know, the Atlanta Falcons are doing anything different that they would have did if Kirk Cousins wouldn't have fell off a cliff, after week 9. But he did. So everybody looking at it different now. But it's the same situation we had in April when we drafted Michael Penix. Only difference is now Kurt is on the bench, but the cap is the same. And that's the point I'm making. They already factored in that he was going to be on the books for 2 seasons. That's not new. That's not new math for them. They already had that in effect factored in, right? So it's nothing new for them. So it's not like, oh, we got a new or suddenly we got a new cap number on our. No, they already knew they had this because they were planning on to keep him for 2 years anyway, right? So it's nothing different. Only difference is just look bad because you got a guy that you paying that much money sitting on the bench. But it's about at the end of the day, it's about freaking having production and being able to live up to the contract. Unfortunately, he didn't. So now it looks like a bad contract, and you can't argue that because yes, it is. But it's already sunk cost, guys. That's all I'm saying. So if you're thinking about that, just forget about it because it is what it is. Um, if they already trade Kirk, then they won't have already seen that. It's the same like Russell Wilson in Denver with old 38 million. However, there are some teams that are interested in Kirk, but I think the team will probably wait for him to be released. Yes, that's why I wouldn't release him. That's why I wouldn't release him. That's the point I'm making. Why would we release him? We got to pay him anyway. So why would we release him? We don't have. It's no animosity with Kirk Cousins like Russell Wilson had. So it's not the same. Same situation with Russell. It was an animosity there. It's not the same situation with the Atlanta Falcons. There's no animosity. Freaking Raheem Morris said when him and Kirk they hugged each other when they left out the building earlier this week. So it's not any beef there. Kirk knows he didn't play well, right? And you want to be a starter, but the guy knows, man. You know what I'm saying? He's just a true pro. Sometimes some of those guys do exist in this league. So I wouldn't cut him for nothing. I'm sorry. And I don't think it'll make a distraction at all because it is what it is, man. He's already on the books regardless. I wouldn't give him away for free. So if teams gonna take the Atlanta Falcon bluff, I'll just keep him on the roster. That's what I would do. The last thing we'll talk about as far as some news around is Tyreek Hill. We know about all the fuss that Tyreek Hill made. His last game of the season, didn't want to go back in the game in the fourth quarter. posted the whole Antonio Brown meme, but his agent came out today, Drew Rosenhaus, said, he was just talking out emotion because, not going to be, not having a chance to be in the playoff. He's a competitor. They said they got several guys from their agency that's on the Miami Dolphins, and everybody knows that Tyreek Hill is a great teammate. So he does not want out of Miami, according to his agent. He's going to stay there and try to work it out. He had a great meeting with the GM and the head coach, on the exit meetings and things like that. So we'll see what Tyreek Hill, situation. If it's just his agent is trying to, smooth things out because of the whole what went down, from the press conference and things like that, or they're just blowing smoke. Just like Jimmy Butler agent said that Shams Charania was lying about what he said. Kind to find out, there's nothing none of that was a lie because Jimmy did one out. And it was so bad that the Miami Heat freaking suspended him for 7 games, right? So, you know, agents are trying to do their job. They're trying to, put out the fires and things like that and be a great spokesperson for their player. But but sometimes some truth in some of that stuff. So we got to really think about it. But like I said, Tyreek Hill, man, freaking. Um, I think the one thing, he's the kind of player that can go anywhere and be really good. So if he does one out, it's gonna be really interesting to see what they decide to do with Tyreek Hill. Terry T says um, Kurt team would have to have a great line to block for his. Yeah, you know what? Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns. They got a great running back. Especially Chubb can get back up, to form the way he needs to be. They have a great running game. They got a pretty good defense. The Cleveland Browns will be a good spot for Kirk Cousins. So Cleveland, call Atlanta, see can you make a deal, right? And if that happens, that they would line up for other other teams to kind of move up and try to get one of these young quarterbacks that's coming out. Right now, there's only two quarterbacks that most of the league is talking about, and that's Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, right? Um, like I said, you see what Quinn Ewers think about coming back. Of course, he's still in the college football playoffs. Carson Beck's already entered the transfer portal for the Georgia Bulldogs because Carson Beck just played like ass. That's why he's coming back. He probably felt like his stock wasn't going to be good. But for your point about Kurt, go to the Cleveland Browns. He said he'll come to Atlanta, please, sir. Sure. That deep ball from Michael Penix would be lovely. Like I said, but I think Hill can go anywhere. But shit, man, if we can pull off again Tyreek Hill, hell yeah, come to Atlanta. I'm not mad with that. 100% not mad with that. I just don't think it's realistic to happen. So, guys, the last thing is just looking at the draft order. We talked about it a little bit. I just talked about it today. Tennessee Titans has number 1 pick. Cleveland Browns number 2 pick. New York Giants has number 3. The New England Patriots, they have the number 4th overall pick. Jacksonville Jaguars has the number 5 pick. The Las Vegas Raiders has number 6. The New York Jets has 7. The Carolina Panthers 8. The New Orleans Saints has the 9th pick. The Chicago Bears have the 10th pick. The San Francisco 49ers, the 11th pick. The Dallas Cowboys, the 12th pick. The Miami Dolphins, the 13th pick. The Indianapolis Colts, the 14th pick. And then our beloved Atlanta Falcons, the 15th pick. See, Raheem was right. We wasn't going to be picking the top 10 again. He was right about that, right? Arizona Cardinals, number 16. Cincinnati Bengals, 17. Seattle Seahawks, 18. The Houston Texans, 19. Denver Broncos, 20. Pittsburgh Steelers, 21. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 22. The Los Angeles Rams, 23. The rest of the team is on back there. So it's interesting things to see. the way this draft pick gone. So like I said, it's a lot of quarterback needy teams. Right now they're only talking about, two quarterbacks. I'm pretty sure some more names going to come up. They always do. They always do come up later on, in the draft process, you know, during draft season. So we'll hear about some more quarterbacks definitely. But right now, look like Shador and Cam. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be in that mix. For his veteran guys, Sam Darnold. If Minnesota Vikings decide what they decide to do with their, um, Kirk Cousins definitely is a guy to look at and see if teams going to be interested in him. Um, Aaron Rodgers, if he decide to stay, I don't know if he's going to be back with the Jets, but he would be, attracted to some teams as well. I mean, future Hall of Famer there. So, but when you're looking at these teams, you look at quarterback needed teams. I think the Tennessee Titans. I think they don't give Will Levis enough time. I don't know if they really believe in him. If he's going to be the guy for them. Cleveland Browns. They got Deshaun Watson, but it was reported that he is having a setback with his Achilles injury. The New York Jets went on away from Daniel Jones, so they definitely need to get a quarterback. Then you have the Las Vegas Raiders, definitely need a quarterback. The New York Jets, they need a quarterback. Um, then you look at the rest of the list, it look like everybody else might be happy. The Pittsburgh Steelers, what they decide to do with Russell Wilson, they may need a quarterback, but they have the number 21st pick, so they're waiting on the line. But you're looking at this draft and you look at quarterback, so I believe it's going to be less quarterbacks going early in the draft this year, and more skilled players and things like that. You know, defensive players, DBs, receivers, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, those kind of guys. I haven't got into the draft prospects, so I can't really tell you who's hot commodities. I can just tell you about, the top guys that you know about, guys like Travis Hunter, Alton Gentry, of course, Shador, Cam Ward, those guys. We know those guys going to be in the mix somewhere up there. But it's a lot of more guys out there. Definitely get to see how this draft is going to fall out. But it's really early, guys. It's still the playoffs. That's why we talked about that. Let's get these last couple of comments and see what happens. Um, Said, man, Curtis is going to end up with the Raiders if they don't get Shador or Cam. That's a good point because the Raiders is pick number 6. So you're right. They could bring a veteran in and you know he's a statue like Tom Brady was. So could be a work. Could be really good for them. So that's a good idea. I never even think about the Raiders um, going after Kirk. Um, but nobody wants A-Rod. He's good going from the Jets, especially if Rick is hired. Oh, yeah, he's going for the Jets 100%. Especially if Rick Ryan. I think he's going regardless because I don't think the owner likes him too much. So I think he's going regardless. He said, man, Pitt got Fields, and they got several teams that have reached out to Pitt to trade, and they don't want to entertain it. Yeah, you're right. Fields might be the future. And it was a report that he does not want to leave Pittsburgh anyway. So he might be the guy, man. I think he need to find a home. Um, Pittsburgh might be the home for Justin Fields. So you might be right about that. Good insight, Eddie. Good insight, man. Good insight. You throwing out some good insight, about other teams and things like that. But guys, there you have it. I'm glad I came on today. I told you guys I was going to start talking about other sports. Next thing, we'll probably talk about some college football because the playoffs is like Eddie said earlier that they're kicking off the semifinal games. So we'll see how that pans out for these teams. Um, then of course we'll get into some NBA as well. Um, Believe it or not, the WNBA got some news coming on as well. They coming up. I think starting on Saturday, they actually be able to start the quarter players and things like that, and they get into free agency like on the 20th of January. So WNBA got some hot things going on. NBA we know is in full effect. Um, we'll definitely try to talk about that trade deadline coming up in February the 6th. Um, baseball baseball teams are definitely willing and dealing trying to sign players, getting ready for they go to spring practice. So it's a lot of things to talk about in the sports world, and I'm definitely going to be talking about all those things. Definitely want you guys to put your input in, but once again, you guys know where my heart is at. It's definitely talking about the Falcons. So always going to have Falcon shows on this channel, but I will do a show about other sports as well. So, guys, let me know what you think about my first show talking about different things outside of our Atlanta Falcons. I definitely got some Atlanta Falcon takes in here on this show, but for the most part, I wanted to go around the league and the fallout from the 2024 season. A lot of teams fell short. At the end of the day, it's only going to be one team that's going to be happy anyway. Um, and I still think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. But there you have it, guys. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.